Hello, everyone. This is Tijen Genco, Master Certified Coach and Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach. Welcome to Coaching with Mastery and Elegance with Tijen Genco. And this is a podcast. It's mainly we're discussing the concepts that are interest for the coaches in their own development, as well as anyone who is interested in getting in a better understanding of themselves and how they relate to the world around them. So today we are lucky to have two additional beautiful guests with us, Elaine Harding and Efan Hsieh, and along with my always wonderful companion, Marta Regalado. And we will have our guests introduce themselves in a little bit. Hello, Marta, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tijen, and welcome, Efan and Elaine. It's so nice to be here with everyone.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here as well.
And welcome, everybody. So, Marta, what are you going to have us discuss today?
So today we're going to talk about year-end reflections. It's December, it's almost 2024, so it's an opportunity to look back at this year, what we've learned, what we're taking away, what we would like to take into the new year. And so before we dive in, I would love to invite Elaine and Efan to introduce themselves.
Thank you. Thank you for the beautiful opportunity here. And, I have recently been reflecting on kind of who I'm working with. And I realized, as a conscious marketing coach, a lot of my audience are people, entrepreneurs who find it hard to kind of unveil themselves. And I think all of us can relate maybe to that. So that's who I work with primarily, in helping them with their marketing and copy and branding, is how to really show their true selves in their marketing. So thank you for letting me be here.
Yeah, thank you, Elaine.
Absolutely. Thank you, Elaine. And what about you, Efan?
So I am a certified functional health coach. That is how I came into coaching. And so primarily I work with clients who have been going through burnout and they're wanting to experience better health and energy. And through the process of my own coaching inquiry for myself and my own life, I also realized that health is much more than just physical health. And it encompasses mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health as well. So I love what you said about helping people to achieve more of their true self, Elaine, because I feel like that is what I'm ultimately helping people to do, is to unveil more of their true self and to be able to integrate all those things. So I'm also a trauma-informed coach, and I work with adventurous empaths, as I call them, people who love to have adventure and want to be able to have that open heart to enjoy themselves and the world fully.
Lovely. Welcome both.
Yes, it's beautiful. And I love how everything feels so aligned, everyone's work, and there's this kind of common thread of unveiling. Elaine, you put it so beautifully using that word. So to get us started, I would love to hear a bit about what is your reflection process, and does it differ, at the end of the year? What does that look like for you?
Let's see, I guess I'll go first. Or you just pop in there too, Eva. I actually have a structured set of questions, that I ask myself, and I offer it to my clients for free. It's just a way to celebrate, I guess, as well. And I think it's good to do it quarterly. I actually use it quarterly, but the end of the year maybe is a little more in depth. So yeah, just a quarter set of questions, celebrations, seeing what our strengths are, what my strengths are, where I may have wanted to do more but didn't for various reasons, and what I learned in this space. So I go through this in a different kind of a ritualistic way. I'm kind of a ritual person. So I like simple rituals kind of to mark these occasions. So yeah, it's definitely something important to me.
Lovely. What about you, Efan?
I love this question because I also have a ritual at the end of the year for reflection. And this is something that I came to many years ago. What I do is I do a complete review of my year. I like to do this quarterly as well, and then like a very tiny part of that as a weekly basis. But for the end of the year process, I kind of carve out maybe a few days.
Oops. We lost
Oh, we
Efan's
lost her.
connection. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, while we are waiting for Efan to come back, maybe I'll talk about importance of that technically for the coaches, and then talk about what I do. And part of the ethics that International Coach Federation has, as well as the National Board and Health and Wellness Coaches have, is to continuous development, and that requires self-awareness and awakening of the coaches along with the technical growth. So for me, I actually enjoyed hearing Elaine's sharing about the quarterly reflection. I don't necessarily sit down and do that. My overhaul is often toward the very end of the year. That my dad's birthday, his transition, but it was January 1st. So in a way, it's looking at life and my relation to life and where I am and all that. But I no longer do that sort of a reflection on the side. Reflection became a main ingredient the way I relate to life. So I think if I need to answer that as a daily basis, question becomes, when am I not reflecting? And as you know, Martha, in my coach trainings, I often talk about importance for that, for the coaches, because if we are not self-aware, we are also living in shadow of our reactive responses, and that's going to get in our way of not listening well or not responding to the client as the moment requires. So that's quite important. But when it comes to my personal reflective self, that I like to have nothing in a few days to go through a particular process. And I've been actually doing that collectively with some of my students. We'll talk about that later. Looking through the pictures I take, and that kind of gives me a flow, my journey. And then the year vision board, reflective vision board, and then realization of how I partner with the universal flows, how the energies were there for me, and how did I show up for them. So what are your thoughts on that, Martha?
I think it's so wonderful to hear how everyone reflects. And I was actually on a call with Elaine, I think it was last week, and she asked me, how do you reflect? And I thought, I'm like, I don't. It's something that sometimes I can just kind of breeze over everything, and I don't stop to reflect. And I remember, Tijen, when I was first becoming a coach, and everyone was asking you, all your coaching students were asking you, how do we become better coaches? And you told us, reflect, reflect, reflect. And so right now I am really, noticing the importance of going back, of reflecting. And right now taking this opportunity, and I think I'm going to sign up for your session, Tijen, to reflect on this year and create, it's so beautiful, like a vision board, or go through your photos, or go through your agenda, or your notebooks, or your journal. Yes, I think it's something that I don't carve the time to do, and I want to. So thank you so much.
That surprised me for you, Martha. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm curious, as coaches, what is the impact of what is the importance of this for you? And what is the impact on your coaching practice? So this is kind of like the importance for you personally and the importance for you as a coach.
Why don't you go ahead, Elaine?
Hey, sure. I was just I was I was just thinking about what you said, that it's, when am I not reflecting? It's a I I've been, a spiritual journey for a long time, as well as my professional journey, and I've learned that if I don't reflect, that's when I'm missing something important, or I'm what they use the modern word kind of bypassing is often said, where we can cover up, and we can deny something about ourselves. And again, it's not to be harsh. It's not like a harsh lens. It's not to see things in a harsh lens all the time. It's more just to see the truth of it. And, what do we really feel? How do we really think about this? And so if I don't ask myself those questions, then I start to notice, that I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. So reflection for me is kind of like a natural act, I guess, too, because it's become part of my being. And I hope to help my clients become part of their being. So that's, I guess, why it's important. I think, did I answer that correctly, Marta? Was that the question?
No, absolutely. Whatever it is, you want to share. And
I want to make sure I got the the question. Why is it important? Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm curious, you talk about your spiritual journey and you talk about your professional journey. How are they linked, if at all?
Wow, that could be a whole nother podcast, I think. Right?
In reflection.
Yeah, in reflection.
In reflection.
I don't know. It's I mean, they're one and the same, really. Although they kind of feel separate at first, I think, to many who are on those paths, and then you learn to intertwine them.
Yeah, coming out of the closet requires a better integration.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. I've written a blog about that.
Oh, I'll have to look at that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So I think that I mentioned a little bit earlier importance of the coaches and anybody who is interested, as you heard me say, Marta, I say there is a genie in the bottle, genie out of the bottle. So there is the one that acts and one that becomes aware of acting. And so in a way, then the actor becomes more aware of the one is aware, and they partner a little bit better, and there's more integration in aware action. So I do leadership training, and I call this a awakened leadership presence. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a leader in an organization, but we are all leaders in our lives, right? In some capacity, hopefully leading ourselves in a good way. And so awakened presence, I believe, is a product of some level of reflection. Otherwise, we are only in acting. And that's where I talk about the in-depth coaching, transcendental coaching, as I talk about, comes. Transcendence requires understanding the level that you are at, so that there is a choice become available to you to change that depth in wherever you want to go. And even that ignorance is your choice, it still becomes a conscious choice out of a reflection. So what about you, Marta? What do you think about that? All you heard. Welcome back, Efan.
Welcome, Efan. So let me answer that, but let me, so just quickly, Efan, we were talking about as coaches, what is the impact of having, a reflective practice for you, in your work as a coach? And so Elaine and Tijen just gave us lovely answers, and Tijen asked me, and it's reflecting. I loved how Tijen said leading ourselves. And so it's kind of this idea of leading ourselves before, leading anyone else. Even it can be, in a professional setting, it can be in a home setting. I'm even thinking of my kids, for example. Like, I need to be able to lead myself in a way, that feels very aligned before I can be, kind of like an example and to them and lead them. And this idea of awakened presence that comes from this reflection, work. And so it all sounds very, very inspiring. So I'm curious I know you just joined us, Efan, after I think some technical issues. What are your thoughts?
Well, thanks for welcoming back. I apologize for that. I think Mercury is in retrograde.
Mercury is reflective, in reflection mode.
Right? Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit of a cosmic joke almost to look back at the things that didn't work and look at what I would have done differently. But I feel like that's from the intellectual perspective. From the deeper, maybe an energetic perspective of reflecting on how did I feel during times that didn't work, or how did I feel in times that I succeeded in accomplishing something that was personally meaningful for me. There's an aspect of meaning there, and then of becoming a clearer vessel so that I can hold the space for my own processing and transformation. And in doing so, perhaps be more of a blank slate to be able to do that for somebody else. So that's what I can, what's coming to me as I'm re-entering this conversation.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Efan. Yeah. So I'm curious, when we kind of start, we start at the beginning of the year and we reflect on our intentions. Where are you now?
Let's start with you this time, Efan.
Okay. My intentions, well, first of all, let me just back up and I'll just give you a broader bird's eye view of where I am in my coaching journey. I am a relatively new coach. So I graduated from a coaching program 1.5 years ago. And so as I graduated from my coaching program, I had the intention that as a new coach, I'm going to treat my first year of coaching as an internship in coaching. And that was a very helpful intention for me to have because as I've heard from other marketing people, not to compare my beginning with other people's middle and ends. So I felt like that was a very helpful big picture view for me to come into this past year. So I do work, I do have a job as a coach as part of a company. And my intention was to develop my own coaching skills and to also grow my coaching business in my free time and learn in the process. So learn about myself, learn about the art of coaching, learn about developing a business, being an entrepreneur, and also continue on my own healing journey and continuing a learning process. So I did enroll in a 1-year certification for the biology of trauma training that's led by a medical doctor. And that was also a personal journey into nervous system regulation that I experienced myself. And so there were a lot of intentions that I started with. And I would say it's been a really beautiful year of growth and development, and continuing to build a strong foundation for further expansion. And at the end of the year, I'm beginning to feel in my body what that expansion might feel like. So I think it's a fun place to be.
Lovely. I didn't hear there, Efan, that you're returning of the Jedi into the authenticity, right? Which you also have that celebration, I believe. Do you want to speak to that also?
The return of the Jedi.
Return of the fairies.
Yeah. Well, you know, I took the Brand Called You course with Tijen recently, and that has also been part of my intention, is to really return home to myself and what my essence is, rather than what I think I should be or what I think other people want me to be as a coach. And I think that level of authenticity really speaks to my own personal journey, and those that I would attract to me. Is it's something that we all desire to return home to, as something that we never even really lost, but that is an invitation to expand deeper into those spaces within myself and within ourselves. And so, yeah, there has been, I think the last year has been a slow process, sometimes very fast, but you know, the arc of it is that I'm going and I'm returning back home to myself, becoming more comfortable in myself. And then my hope is that, you know, from the inside out, that I am able to be a better guide and coach for people who are also on a similar journey.
Lovely. Thank you for that share as well.
Thanks for the question.
Yeah. And Elaine, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's beautiful reflections that I'm just feeling into as well, from what I've just heard. I think I write this little, some people have a vision board. I did a special workshop I facilitated at the beginning of the year for people to create a vision book. Sometimes you don't have enough wall space. So it was following the 8 sectors of the feng shui bagua. So, which I, for many years, have done as a vision board, the 8 sectors, but I decided to put it into 8 pages in a little book. And that's kind of part of where my vision is, you know, was for my life as well as for parts of my business, though I do a separate for my business as well. But so I was just, you know, looking at that recently, and I've been coaching probably the last, I think, 10 years, but primarily around branding and marketing the last three years about. Before that, more about business, and then a little about leadership. So with women particularly. And so in my little vision book, I had this picture I drew, you know, and what did I want, you know, to learn and integrate. And I really wanted to understand, you know, at a deeper level, kind of marketing. And, you know, because it has many levels, right? Everything has so many levels to it, doesn't it? We get on a journey and then we think we had this level, and then we go, oh my gosh, there's more, and there's more, and there's more. So that's true with everything. But I ended up actually taking a job with a large company as a marketing strategist, as well as having clients on the side. And I think that was part of my learning, was to see how marketing is done in different realms, right? In different spaces, and also what I might learn personally. And I think what I noticed over time is there's the authentic part, you know, and we were talking about that a little earlier, being authentic with ourselves. And what I also though notice with the very well, some of people very well known that I was working with, you know, in their marketing, their online programs, is how comfortable we are stating who we are and what we're good at. Yeah. It's one thing to kind of know it, right? And to feel authentic, but it's another to be able to speak it and to voice it. And our voice is often very, can get very shut down early in our life. Yeah. For many people in different ways. So what I think I've learned, you know, my intention was to learn about marketing, but I learned was more personally about myself as well as other people too, that if we can break through our barriers to being seen, yeah, to being fully seen and not worry. Oh no.
Oops, I did it again.
Oh no, they're gonna see me as this crazy, like I'm, you know, I'm a spiritual person, and you know, oh no, I'm gonna be labeled, and well, that's okay, right? So I think, yeah, breaking down those barriers about ourselves is part of marketing, you know, which I knew, but it became clear that the people who were really willing to be out there with themselves, you know, yes, I am. Then yeah, they really were, they were easy to market. The ones who are hiding were harder to market. Yeah, maybe you've experienced that too. But so that was one of my learnings, I guess. And we don't know what learnings we're going to have when we have an intention, right? We set the intentions and we go, well, teach me something, and then it's up to us to filter it. So I think that was a big one for me, both personally and for my work. Yeah.
Lovely. What you're sharing makes me think about Dr. David Hawkins. He often talks about he doesn't know what he's going to talk about. And whenever the moment calls, he says, then he responds. And he also say that he doesn't need marketing for what he's going to say, because the truth itself has its own magnetism to attract. And you also touched upon something else, Elaine, that I've been recently working at the true magnetism of my own voice, as well as my students and my clients, that needs to be dipped into the heart, not to the head, not to the hip, but to the heart. And so then it can create its own magnetic attraction. And that's beautiful. So as it comes to me, where I was and what I intended to do, or where I intended to arrive, was more about this year. I've been actually hibernating since 2019 with some illness, and that's actually, I overcame that. That's lovely to finish with that experience. And then also COVID. So my main intention was to reunite and visit with my mom. And that is accomplished, and then the more to be done about that is not finished. But I actually left the cocoon, and then I'm seeing myself like those yo-yo things. I'm hiding in the pole of the home. I go and come back to make sure. And we were talking about earlier that I'm already a private person, highly sensitive person, that those spaces, my personal space, either expanded further or become even more sensitized to be with myself, that the interruption to the self via appearance of other beings becomes much more recognizable for me. So that's the recognition and learning, and further honoring myself in that way. As those of you who are flying now, you can even recognize much more than that. And the other arrival for me is, I already am a compassionate person, but I think it descended into logarithmically much deeper level as a small business owner, as a person, I'm looking at people's efforts, not necessarily the outcome, but what they intended to do, how they intended to relate to me or relate to their jobs. And even though maybe the outcome is less than optimal, I started to see the effort, see the person, the truth in there. And as Elaine was talking about, the clutter that is in the way of their expression of the self. So I'm going over that huddle and then connecting to their hearts in a way. So it's a different, slightly different level of relating with the people as well as the universe that Efan was talking about, the cosmic jokes. And so there is our plans, our will, and thy will, and universe comes like, hi, I was gonna do that. And you say, okay, well, one of my intention was to go on a retreat and do a retreat in Jamaica, and then I got flu before going there. That was one of the universal hellos and jokes. So how do you partner with that? And that sort of softened partnerships when there is the desired strategy, and then that strategy meets with the cosmic strategy. Then how do you soften the partnership and collaborate? So that's my arrival. What about you, Marta?
So many beautiful reflections, and it sounds like this overarching theme is arriving and a coming home to ourselves, our authenticity, and being able to, lead ourselves and guide ourselves and others. And I love this idea of, Elaine, you were speaking to this, your marketing being, it's also like this journey, it's a personal journey. And how comfortable you feel with yourself is really how comfortable you're going to feel expressing yourself. And Tijen talks about this clutter, which was such a great metaphor, the clutter that's in the way of our self-expression and being able to find our voice. And I hear coaches saying that so often, I want to find my voice. I want to find my voice. And really that voice is almost, it's your confidence. It's, that comfort that you feel with yourself and expressing yourself. And it's such a beautiful place to arrive when you feel, closer to that. And Efan talks about expansion. And it's kind of, I don't know if that's, it's almost like that expansion to be able to, I don't know, show up fully. And for me, it was interesting because I went back to my agenda. I always have my planner, my physical planner that I like to write in. And it had a vision board, like a visioning section that I started at the beginning of the year. And I went back and I was thinking, oh my, I did not accomplish any of this. Like where I have arrived is so different. And it's not different in a way that I'm not happy with. I am extremely happy and I feel very satisfied with where I've arrived this year. And it was nice that I'm very kind of go with the flow. And so it was really nice to recognize that I didn't have any attachments really to, I need to do this and I need to make, this thing happen. I was okay, really being kind of flexible with what came. And I think what sticks out to me the most is, kind of letting things unfold. But while you're letting them unfold, there's like this effort and determination, at least that I have, put into my business where, okay, I'm going to stick with this and I know I am going to make it happen. It's just a matter of time. So for me, that is a huge mindset shift. Whereas before, it was always kind of very conditional, if it happens, I don't think it's going to happen, like so much like laced with so much insecurity. And now I'm feeling so much more confident about what I would love to accomplish in my business. So it's not, a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so I've really been able to kind of start enjoying, the journey and the process. So thank you for asking, Tijen.
Of course, I can hear that there is more flexibility in your partnership with the universal flows.
Yeah, it's so important. And like you were speaking on your trip to your workshop in Jamaica, you got the flu, and I remember, I think there was like a huge mosquito problem. There was something.
One thing after another, all sorts of things. Yes.
Yeah. So we've talked about, kind of where we've arrived, what we've learned. I'm curious what you're taking away into the next year.
What are your thoughts, Elaine?
Yes. Well, I'm really feeling myself that weaving in all the elements of my own being into my work. It's one thing to say, I always say, if you're saying something to your clients, I hope I'm a good role model for it. Right? I mean, otherwise it's hard to say, these things to someone. Oh, you should be bringing in all these parts of yourself. Why are you hiding yourself? Don't do that. And then I have to look back. Oh, wait, there's me. I have to bring those things. Okay. So I think, being a role model is partly the work, right? Is without having to point out things always to others, to our clients, is just to be that. Yeah, just to be that, and to be a mirror for them to see it themselves. So I'm trying to be a clearer example, I guess, of my own integration, my own to reflect out more clearly who I am. Yeah, as clearly as I can to others, so that they feel like they're, getting a sense of that, and the different aspects of me. And not that it all, I guess, there's parts you think, well, does it really matter? But then I think, well, yeah, I think it does. Because when I think of people that I've really admired, yeah, whether they're coaches or just leaders of some, whatever type, I've admired that they share something kind of interesting about themselves, something different, some little pieces of themselves. And you go, oh, I didn't know that. How interesting, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's not that we have to say, oh, do they really care whether I've spent a couple years building a house with my partner. We actually physically built it, ourselves. Is that interesting to people? Maybe, it might be. And so, but it's just another version, another aspect of me. So I guess it's, to be a role model in being me, so others can feel comfortable to be vulnerable too. Yeah, so I guess that's what I'm taking into my year. Yeah, one of the things. Thank you, Marta.
Beautiful. Authentically being you, and that's its own attraction and invitation for others. Lovely. Thank you, Elaine. And Efan, what do you have for us?
I love how aligned we all seem to be with these themes. And what I'm taking into the year is more confidence in the foundations that I've built to be comfortable with myself through the somatic work that I've been doing intensely in the last year, through my studies and my own reflections. As I mentioned before, that I have found that the stronger the foundation, it's like, there's this image of a golden eagle being released from captivity. And it comes out of this cage, and it comes flying out of the cage, it's beautiful big feathers, and it's on the Mongolian steppe. And first it folds its wings and just looks around. at the vastness of the landscape and what's its birthright, really. And then it launches itself, and as it does, it goes down to the ground and it just launches itself up from the ground. And I feel like that stability is that ground that I've worked really hard to build in the last year and more. And what I'm taking is a more clear a more availability of my energy to direct it into the places that I want it to go. And I feel like that is really one of the things I love about coaching, being coached, and it's just the ability to reduce the clutter, to launch into whatever it is that I want to experience in my life, and for the people that I'm guiding as well. And so that's a really exciting, delicious, also a little bit terrifying place to be, to feel the freedom of that expansion, and also the trust to allow myself to experience that in a way that feels paced for me. Yeah, but it's more of a feeling. So I'm very excited for the next year.
Beautiful. Feels like you did the groundwork, and now you are expanding, stretching. That feels lovely. I often sense and feel the people walking around like a drone, ungrounded. And this, I could see how you are feeling the ground and then opening up your wings. That's lovely to see. Thank you for that. And do you want to share yours, Marta, before I make mine?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So something that struck me right now that Efan was sharing is the hard work that it takes to really build this foundation. It's not easy. It's hard, and it takes a lot of time and energy and patience and kind of self-love to be able to do it. And I think it's something that, I think sometimes we don't really give ourselves credit for all this hard work that we put into, really being able to kind of bring our whole selves forward, because it's not easy, and so that struck me. So thank you so much for sharing that. And for me, what I want to take into the new year, I think, is also, Efan said trust. So also kind of trusting that things are going to unfold, in a way, in a way that's going to kind of, work in, that's going to be very aligned, with me, with my values, and obviously putting in the hard work and just coming from a place of trust and of confidence that, I will be able to accomplish, what I have set forward for myself. So that's what's coming up for me. And I'm curious to hear from you, Tijen.
Thank you for sharing that. It's similar to all your shares. For me, I was thinking actually that I think big part of our lives, we lose ourselves through the social conditioning. And then until we come to the wisdom age, 40, 50, whatever that may be, then we work on finding what that was. And then we have a little bit more time left to express what it is, if we choose to. So I think that a few years ago, I was doing myself in a different way. I do slightly different archetypal reading and archetypal coaching. And some of my archetypes came forward, the poet and the lover. And I was surprised a little bit because I didn't see the poet in me before. And I started writing poems and everything. And I think that's where I'm heading. More these partnerships as a lover and compassionate person. That what I'm recognizing I'm just finished that masterclass and human needs, which is not necessarily trauma-informed needs like, oh, love me and do this for me and that the other thing, but what is our authentic self-expression built in to us? That is the need. If I am born lover, I'm going to need people to love. So that's not necessarily obey to give me gifts to, so I know what you're loving me and so on. That's a very different aspect. So what I'm walking toward, not necessarily maybe from this year, but it's a progression into my evolution, is that Dr. Estes talks about being an elder, not necessarily as part of the age, but becoming an elder requires much more relaxed presence into the moment. And with that presence, we invite others to be who they need to be so that we can partner from that authenticity. That's the hunger I have. That's what I'm going to take. And my intention is to start fulfilling that hunger into authentic partnerships, whether it's stepping out and meeting the deer outside or another human being in the podcast. That's that partnership. Yeah.
That's beautiful, Tijen. Those authentic partnerships. Thank you so much for sharing.
Mm.
And also you said, kind of what is our authentic self-expression? So kind of figuring that out before, what is it? And then, having kind of, the courage or, to express it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this was a beautiful, beautiful conversation. I am so grateful to have had this opportunity to be in this space with everyone. And we lost Efan again.
Yeah.
But as we wrap up, I would like to hear, if there's any updates, any upcoming, offers, events that you would like to share with us.
And what about, we'll start with you, Elaine.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, so from my kind of learnings this year, I decided to create a 8-week online program, Express Your Elemental Genius.
Oh.
The elemental part is because I work a lot with the 5 sacred elements, which are important in Tibetan Buddhism, which is a lot of my foundation, but they're also present in many in other traditions. And so those elements, air, earth, water, fire, and in Tibetan space. I also do feng shui. So that's, they're just present in so much of what I do. And so I thought, well, we have these archetypes that are at our birth. We're a water element more, or we're a fire element. And so I want to help people kind of connect to those and also connect it to their wounds and how it wants to express itself in the world. And so I've created this course and group coaching. And so I'm excited about that. And it's starting January 11th. Yeah, it's going to be an exploration into your archetype and how that translates into your gifts and how you want to express your gifts in the world in particular. I got this new, it's not mine, it's just somebody else's, but this little deck called the Untamed Elemental, if you can see that. It's kind of cool. Can't quite get it to, oh, there we go. Yeah, and it's just like, a lot of people are connecting with that. So yeah, there's so many ways we can connect to our expressive self, our authentic self. So I hope to help others do that. But thank you for letting me share.
Of course, it's beautiful. So how are the people going to find that and sign up for that, Elaine?
Yes, so my website is Elaine, Elaine, K, the initial K, Harding, Harding. So ElaineKHarding.com.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
And anything you wish to share with our audience that for part of your offerings, Efan?
Yes, I have a weekly newsletter that I send out every Thursday. It's called the Thursday Thrive Style. And it is about integrating our energy from our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual selves to live and optimize life. And I will be running a workshop in January around somatic visioning. So it is not just about the traditional visioning, but also connecting with the felt sense, what that feels like. So you can sign up for my newsletter through my Instagram profile. So you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Thrive with Efan. And that's like thrive.with.Efan, spelled Efan. And you can just find that in my link there.
Beautiful. Thank you for that
Thank you.
share, Efan. And well, it is quite appropriate for me that share next week. I am doing the annual reflection, mentor guided reflection session, and there's still 2 more seats left for that. What it is that I give a template for the participants to guide their reflective process. That is the template that I kind of created and used for myself. And it's such a loving, beautiful, talking about relationship, sacred space it turns into, because people are presenting all their images, what happened to them and everything. And it's like a few hours of love fest. And then we learn about each other. We learn about what happened to us. And obviously, as a mentor and a coach, I'm also reflecting the growth that I've seen in people there, and they do the same thing to each other. And my other events, upcoming events, are not there yet for the next year because I haven't done my reflection yet. So I am intending, I'm having a little bit more hectic December than I usually like to have. So I will start posting them sometime in January. Anybody interested in my offerings for the coach trainings, mentorings, and healing workshops, they can find them at gencocoaching.com as usual under upcoming events. So, and what would you like to share from your place, Marta?
Yeah, so I am really helping, well, trying to help coaches and other small business owners, express themselves visually. So a new piece to that, so helping them express themselves in their copy, authentically, website design, and the new piece is branding. So helping them, for example, create their branding, their logo, their color palettes, their fonts, so that they're a true expression of who they are. And so that's what I've been working on, which has been really exciting. And I just took this amazing logo design course at RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, and I signed up for their graphic design certificate program. So I'm really happy how these different pieces are integrating, where, this kind of desire for like authenticity, to find your voice, and helping people express themselves visually through their images and their words.
That sounds
So
lovely.
thank you for asking.
Absolutely beautiful. So how do you want us to close, Marta?
You know what? I think it would be really nice to go around and just say one thing that we're really grateful for. How does that sound?
That sounds yummy. Okay. Let's start with you, Efan.
I'm grateful for so much. It's hard to narrow it into one thing. I guess the overarching thing is I'm just grateful to be alive. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for my time on this planet and for the energy that's coursing through my body, and to be able to experience, explore, play, interact with all these different beings and experiences in my life, and to make something beautiful out of that.
Lovely. Thank you, Efan. Elaine?
I'm just feeling grateful in the moment for this beautiful connections and conversation. Really, I love the ideas that just kind of sparked, and I've just the feeling of warmth and just enjoying that feeling. Yeah, connection and appreciation for all of you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I feel the same. I was gonna say ditto. And then I feel like before we started, we were chatting a little bit about having a tea conversation over a tea. This does feels like it. And I dare I say that because we all are elders in some ways, right? Leading the lives of us and ours and supporting the others to lead their lives. So I'm grateful for this elder circle. And then whatever that may take us and bring us to next, and an ability to partner with, as I say, that the good, the bad, the ugly, the despicable, all and everything, to appreciate the different parts of me that brings into animation without a bias. That's what I'm gonna be hoping to be grateful about. And what do you have for us, Martha?
Well, I'm grateful for all the love and all the connection in my life, and really being able to appreciate that and be really present and grateful for that every moment. And I feel very grateful to have had this time with the three of you. It's been so beautiful to hear, everyone's reflections and learnings and insights, and it's really filled me with a lot of love. So thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you, as always, Marta, for producing our show and finding us beautiful guests to speak with. And Elaine and Efan, thank you for being with us. And those of you are listening, we are also, or watching, grateful for you, grateful that you are with us, and sending our best wishes for your reflections and recognition of your own grace, beauty, and your energy. Until next time, take good care.